Thinking about starting a career as a business analyst but not sure where to begin? This episode has the answers. Is any technical background needed to become a business analyst?
You need to first understand, do you have the aptitude to become a business analyst? The skills gap which you have, that will help you in determining the learning path for yourself.
Which business analyst tools or a software a beginner should learn to become a business analyst? How important is certifications? Which certification would you recommend for a beginner to get into?
So certifications do not guarantee jobs. The first advantage of having certified is that it kind of ensures that your resume gets shortlisted.
What is the difference between a technical business analyst and a functional business analyst then?
Your resume is a window to your profile. Don't create a one fits for all kind of a resume.
How to build a project portfolio, especially when you are new to a business analyst role?
The most relevant one and very prominent one in today's world is from a business analyst, you can become a chief product officer. The third one is for people who like to work as an individuals, but they are pretty detailed oriented persons. So for them, I would advise to get into a domain subject matter expert profile or a product SME profile.
Now, very important question now. How AI is changing the world of business analysis now? Hello and welcome everyone to our new episode on FutureForward, where we discuss about skills, careers and ideas that shape the future of work. I'm really excited about today's topic, how to become a business analyst, because a lot of people, they ask these questions, how can they get into a business analyst role? So to guide us this journey, we have a very special guest, Mr. Abhishek Srivastava. Abhishek sir is a founder and CEO of Techcanvass, who has helped thousands of professionals in transitioning their role into a business analyst. He has seen a lot of struggles, myths and success stories. So he knows exactly how to build your strong BA career. Thinking about starting a career as a business analyst but not sure where to begin? This episode has the answers. Thank you so much, sir, once again joining us on FutureForward. It's a real pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
Let me start with a very basic question. So who exactly is a business analyst?
Yeah, so if you look at from a very high level perspective, a business analyst acts as a bridge between the business team and the technology or the solutions team. Okay, so why this bridge is required? That is because if you look at the business team, which is the client team, and the technology team, they look at a problem, same problem, from different perspectives. So whenever they communicate with each other, there's always a gap in the communication. Okay, and that leads to incorrect requirements, which leads to a lot of rework. Okay, and that's why we needed somebody who can work as an intermediary within these two teams, the client and the technology team. Okay, that's where business analyst comes into picture. But that is a very high level understanding of the business analyst role. But if you look at business analyst role, it's a pretty wide ranging role. Okay, let me give you an example. So consider an insurance company which is observing that its renewal rates of the policies is going down. Okay, so there's a problem which needs to be addressed. So business analyst as a professional will work with the client to first look for what are the root causes, why this is happening. Once that is understood and discovered, then the business analyst will work with the various teams, maybe architects, maybe solution designers, to find the right solutions to the problems. Okay, so that's the second step which business analyst does. Then once the right solution is found, then the technology team will come into picture to develop the solution. It could be an IT solution, it could be a non-IT solution, or it could be a combination of the two. Okay, so business analyst also ensures that the right solution is developed, implemented, so that the client can take advantage of whatever benefits they were looking for. So overall, a business analyst role is, number one, helping the client find the right root causes for the problem, help them find the right solution, and also to get it implemented so that they can get the value out of it. That's the broad and very wide-ranging role of a business analyst.
Right. So basically, they work as a coordinator between these two teams, like the technical team and the business team, right? So they work as a solution provider.
Correct.
right?
Correct. Solution
Okay.
provider, problem solver,
Okay.
all of that mixed into one.
Great. Great. All right. So what does basically a typical day of a business analyst to look like?
Yeah. So the typical day for a business analyst may vary depending on which project they're working on, which methodology is being used. But let me tell you about one typical day for a business analyst who is working on a Scrum framework based project and a project which is an ongoing project. Okay. So maybe the day will start with having a daily Scrum or daily stand up meeting where the team discusses what's happening in the project. Maybe something is not working correctly, so they figure out how to solve it, which is taken offline. Okay, then the business analysts go and sit with the developers or the testers to go through whatever happening in the sprint.
Mhm.
So the ongoing sprint, there are a lot of activities which are happening. Okay, so business analysts will work with these people to go through all the work which are being done and whether they require business analyst feedback, inputs, all of that. So that is a regular activity which will happen. Now, it is possible that there could be some enhancement related discussion with the client also on the same day. Okay, so some change request is planned. So the business analyst will have a meeting with the client to discuss what is to be done, what are the details of the requirements. Okay, once that discussion is over, then they maybe send the minutes of meeting, work on the details of the requirements and create the specifications document. So that's a typical day-to-day activity. In addition to that, there could be some pretty regular stuff. For example, updating Jira. Okay, and looking through the mails and all of that. That is anyway part of any professional's life. So that's how the typical day of a business analyst looks like.
Okay, great. So that means they have to attend multiple meetings with multiple teams, right?
Yes, it's a role which requires multiple discussions throughout the day.
So what backgrounds do this business analysts basically come from?
So that is something which is kind of a good news for everyone, is because there's no kind of a restriction saying that a business analyst has to come from a tech background. Okay, so they come from any kind of an industry or any kind of a profile. So over the last 1 decade, we have seen people coming from banking, insurance, travel, hospitality, you name it, every industry. Even from the background perspective, we have salespeople, we have operations people, we even have teachers, we even had air hostesses who are becoming business analysts, right? So we've seen all, right? So there is a wide ranging background from where people are coming from, and then are transitioning to BA role.
Right. That means that's a good news for people coming from different backgrounds that, you know, they have an intent to become a business analyst, right?
Correct.
Right. So is any technical background needed to become a business analyst?
Yeah, that's a question which many people ask. So look, it's a role which is in the IT industry.
Okay.
Okay, but it's a role which is more like a client facing role.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the focus is on communication, soft skills. Okay, trying to understand what does the business want. The focus is not on the developing the solution. Okay, so technology background, to answer your question, no, it's not required. But having said that, you still need to understand the technology on which you're working. At least awareness is required. For example, you're working on an AI project and you have no idea about what is AI, then that is not going to work, right? You don't need to be an AI expert. At least you need to understand what is AI, how does it work. Okay, so to that extent, technology awareness is required.
But so that means if somebody comes from a non-IT background and with the right learning and skill set, they can still become a business analyst, right?
Yes.
So what are the essential skills somebody needs to develop to become a business analyst?
Okay, so as far as the skills are concerned, the first thing which they need is the core BA skill. Meaning if they have to capture the requirements, they need to know how to elicit requirements, how to break down the requirements into smaller parts, how to write user stories, how to create process diagrams. These are core BA skills. Okay, also to how to create documentation. That's a core BA skill. Second, knowledge of the business domain is also important, because if you're going to talk to a banker, at least you need to know what the person is talking about. Otherwise, it will be like going above your head. Okay, so to be able to understand what is required, you need to understand the business. So that's the second important skill. Third, which is equally important, is soft skills, right? So a business analyst is dealing with clients on the one side and the technology team on the other side, right? Both having different mindsets, different approaches to the software. Okay, to be able to communicate with them, you need interpersonal skills, you need presentation skills, negotiation skills, multiple soft skills are required.
Right.
So these are the three primary skills. Knowledge of SQL is kind of an added advantage, not required in every role, but it's something which is always very helpful.
All right. So what are the transferable skills that translate well, I mean, in this particular role?
Yeah. So transferable skills, meaning if you're coming from a non-IT background or coming from sales background and you're trying to become a business analyst, okay, are there any skills which you have acquired which are going to be useful for BA role, right? So yes, there are transferable skills, but these primarily relate to soft skills and domain knowledge. So for example, let's say there is a salesperson. Okay. So what does a sales professional do? They talk to the client to understand what is their problem. Right. So you are into business development, right? So you talk to somebody who is looking to become a business analyst, right? So you understand what is their background, what they need to do to become a business analyst. And then you see, okay, what is the solution which we have? So we have a program which can help them in becoming a business analyst. And that's how you tell them that this is what you need to do, right? Somebody asks you, are they eligible for CBAP? So you look at their profile and say, no, you are not, right? So basically you are giving them a solution, right, which they are looking for. Okay. So that is a transferable skill because that is what BA also do. They talk to the client, understand their problem and say, okay, this is what we can do for you, right? So that's one very important transferable skill. Second could be, let's say somebody is working in a bank, okay, and they are dealing with client in the front office, right? So they understand how the banking software works to look at their balance, they look at their foreign exchange requirements. So a lot of interactions they do with the client and they understand how the bank operations happen. So that's a domain knowledge. Okay. So let's say if tomorrow that person has to become a business analyst and work on a banking project, right? So that knowledge, which is the domain knowledge, is very helpful. So that is also a transferable skill. So these are a couple of examples where you can see there are transferable skills. You just need to, let's say for example, anyone who is trying to figure out what are transferable skills. So they need to kind of look at what they're doing. They need to also look at what the business analyst role does. Right. Then you can figure out whether you have certain skills which are transferable.
Correct. So basically like people coming from sales or business development and people have some domain knowledge would be an added advantage for these people, right?
Yes, it will be.
So which business analyst tools or a software a beginner should learn to become a business analyst?
Yeah. So there are a few. First one is it's a team project where business analyst is working. So you need software where the teams are managing their work, like team management software or work management software. So Jira is one of them. Jira is a very popular one. So that's why I'm naming Jira. But there are other tools also, like there is Asanas, there is today.com. There's multiple such team management and work management softwares. Okay. So depending on what the organization is using, you need to know about that. Okay. At least to carry out day-to-day activities. Then from a specific BA role perspective, right? You need to create, let's say, process diagram, right? You need to create use case model. So you need to know a diagramming tool, something like Microsoft Visio, which is a paid tool, but there are free tools also. For example, draw.io. That's a free tool and you can learn that also. In addition to that, as I mentioned, SQL is required, but having knowledge of a prototyping tool like Figma or any new AI-based prototyping tool is also good. Like Lovable is one of the such tools. Okay, so you need to have some idea how do they work. Finally, I'll not say it's a tool, but knowledge of AI, how to write prompts to get some work done, is also very important in today's world. So these are the few things which you need to know from a tools perspective.
Okay, great. All right. So, how important are this your soft skills versus technical skills?
Yeah, soft skills are extremely important because you're dealing with variety of stakeholders. Okay, and when you're dealing with humans, it's a difficult task. Okay, everyone has their own ego, their own ambitions, their own expectations. Okay, and as a business analyst, if you're dealing with such stakeholders, you need to kind of give them some confidence that their problems are going to be addressed. It's a tough task. Okay, so soft skills are very important. You need to kind of understand what they want, and beyond what they're saying, is there anything which they want, right? That's very important. Secondly, if you are, let's say, talking to them and trying to figure out what is the requirement, okay, during that process, the meetings are generally facilitated, meaning it's not just that it's an interview, it's also that you are helping them come up with the answers or come up with the explanations. So facilitation skills, very important in requirement solicitation. Secondly, you need to listen and understand what somebody is saying. You just don't listen. Okay, you need to listen and understand so that you can ask questions. So active listening, that's another soft skill which is very important. So these are some of the things where I believe soft skills are equally important to your core BA skills. Absolutely, no doubts about that.
Okay, great. Of course, I mean, soft skills are always important. So, how important is certifications? Like, which certification would you recommend for a beginner to get into?
So, certifications do not guarantee jobs. That's a important thing to be understood. Okay, but having said that, there are a couple of advantages of having a good certification. Right, important thing to note is any certification will not help. Okay, certification which has of good organization and of good reputation. Okay, so the first advantage of having certified is that it kind of ensures that your resume gets shortlisted. It gives you that advantage. Okay, so if you have a certified tag on your resume, it improves your chances of getting shortlisted.
Okay,
so that is very important. So once you get certified, then it's up to you to clear the interview. So that is one advantage. Second is, in the recent IIBA salary survey, it has come out that majority of the business analysts have found that getting certified improves their confidence, especially at workplace. Right? So that is very important. If you feel more confident of doing something, it's absolutely very, very important for you to perform well and to succeed. Right? So these are two advantages which are there definitely for getting certified. Now, as far as entry-level certification is concerned, IIBA ECBA certification, the entry certificate in business analysis, ECBA, that is the best bet because that is the most reputed one. Okay, and IIBA has recently made some changes also to make it more job ready. So I would recommend that.
Right. So IIBA ECBA certification is something which you recommend to beginners, right? Of course, Techcanvass also offers a training on this IIBA certification, ECBA certification. So we are also an IIBA certified training provider. So here at Techcanvass also we have a course that is IIBA ECBA certification prep training. In fact, that training has a dual purpose. So it's not only about getting ready for the certification. This particular training is going to help you in learning all the BA core skill sets and cracking your certification in your first attempt. So how long does it take to transition into a business analyst role? So can you break down that for us?
Yeah. So there are multiple things which you need to do to kind of go through your complete transition. Okay. The first thing is you need to start looking at the learning path. Okay. First of all, the skills, right? So skills acquisition is the first step. Okay. So whether it's a training program, whether it's a self-learning, it doesn't matter, but you need to acquire the skills. Second would be to get certified, right? Third would be to update your resume and prepare for the interview, right? And last would be to go through the interview process and get ultimately shortlisted, selected for the job. Now, so these are the 3-4 things which you need to do. And typically, from our experience, what we can say that it takes anywhere from a minimum of 3 months to a maximum of around 6 months. Okay. So this range varies depending on how busy you are, what kind of a workload you have currently, and how much time do you get to study. Okay. Based on that, it can vary from 3 months to 6 months. So if you're looking to transition to a BA role, you must consider this time period. There is no shortcut.
Right. So that means so one should consider at least having 3 to 6 months dedicated 3 to 6 months to get into this role, right?
Correct. At this, I'm saying with the work they're doing.
Okay. So that means the current role which they're handling. So with that, they need to learn their skills, and then they should
To complete
strive
all
for it.
their steps, yeah, they need around 3 to 6 months.
Great. So what are the essential first steps someone should take to become a business analyst?
Yeah. So even before somebody starts the transition journey, okay, the steps which we just talked about, you need to first understand, do you have the aptitude to become a business analyst?
Oh, okay.
Okay. So business analyst role requires certain attitude and certain behavioral skills, right? So if you're not of that kind, right, then even if you become a business analyst, the chances of you succeeding in that career will be very low. Right? Everybody is not fit for every kind of a job.
That's true.
Right? So you need to check whether you have the aptitude to become a business analyst. Otherwise, you can choose different career. There are multiple careers available. So that is one thing. Second thing, we talked about transferable skills. Okay. So what I would suggest is look at your profile, current profile, and try to match it with the required skills of a business analyst, which we talked about earlier. See where is the gap.
Okay.
Okay. Because you need to work on the gaps, the skills gap which you have. That will help you in determining the learning path for yourself, right? And it will vary from one person to another person, right? For salesperson, it will be slightly different. For, let's say, a technical writer who wants to become a business analyst, it will be different. So you need to look at these 2 steps even before you get into the learning path.
So what is the difference between a technical business analyst and a functional business analyst then?
So if you look at a business analyst role, especially a general business analyst who works on a software project, the functional business analyst, as the name suggests, is more on the functionality, meaning these functional business analysts will talk to the client, understand the need, understand the requirements, write user stories, create process diagrams for current processes, the future processes, work with the designers to get the UI screens designed, create the functional specifications document. That's the role of a typical functional business analyst. Okay, so you need the skills how to write user stories, how to create documentation, how to create process diagrams. Okay, that's the functional business analyst. The technical business analyst is more closer to the software systems. Okay, so they are more technical in nature and skills. Okay, so what they do, they take the functional specifications, and from that they create the technical specifications. Okay, which will include where the data will be saved, what kind of table, what kind of API calls to be made. Okay, these kind of tech information will be part of the technical specifications. So they need to learn SQL, they need to know about database, they need to know about APIs. They also need to know a little more about software systems and the architecture. That will be the kind of a technical business analyst skills.
All right. So, but these are all learnable skills, right?
These are all learnable skills. But again, this depends on your aptitude. If somebody is completely non-technical in last 5-6 years of their career, and suddenly they can't turn technical. Okay. So you need to choose your path correctly. That will be very, very useful for you, because otherwise you will get into a loop where you're trying to become something which you can't, because that's too hard for you to learn.
Right. So let's say somebody has already completed his training. I mean, he has learned all the required skills. So how should he go about it? Like if he is planning to start applying for a job, so how should one should go about it?
Yeah. So yeah, that is pretty important. Okay, so you start with your resume. Okay. So your resume is a window to your profile. Okay. So the employer looks at your resume. They can't look at you before they call you for interview. Right. So your resume tells the right story. Right. So especially the first page is absolutely critical. Okay. So what does an employer look for? Okay. So they want to understand whether you have the right skills.
Correct.
And have you applied those skills in a real life project? Right? These are two most important things from a interview perspective and a resume perspective. These two things should come in on the first page of the profile or resume. Okay. Now, if you have worked on multiple projects, obviously it will go to second page, which is okay. Okay. So that is the first thing which you need to look at. Okay. Related to resume, one more thing. Don't create a one fits for all kind of a resume. Meaning you have one resume and you send it to all kinds of job openings. Don't do that. Okay. Because even in business analyst profile, you'll find that there are variations in the responsibilities. If you read the JD correctly. Okay. So try and customize your resume for each type of a job. Okay. So that it fits more to the expectations of the employer. Okay. So that is resume part. The next important thing, very, very important, is network. Okay. You have to have connections. Okay. Just to give you my example, apart from my first job, every other job I got through my connections. Okay. My ex-bosses, my colleagues, I never have to apply directly to a job portal. Okay. So networking is extremely important. So if you haven't built any networks, start doing it now. So whether you're becoming a business analyst or not, connections are important any which ways, right? So start building it right now so that it will help you in your job search also. Finally, you need to be prepared for failures, right? You're trying to become something which is not in your current line of career, right? You're trying to become something different. So it's very rare that you crack the first interview. You may fail, but failure, try to understand why did you not crack this interview? What happened? Where did you fail? Try and understand that rather than trying to feel that, okay, maybe I'm not good enough to become a business analyst. That is where your negativity comes into picture. Avoid that. Try to learn from the failures and be ready for failures. I mean, you have to accept that as a fact when you're searching for a job. These are the few things which I would say that you should look at.
Correct. So, I mean, building a right resume firstly, and then whenever you apply for any job, right? So you should always customize your profile based on the JDs, right, given to you, right? And then, of course, networking is very, very important, and of course, failure is a part of this game, right? So you should be ready for that as well.
Correct.
So how to build a project portfolio, especially when you are new to a business analyst role?
Yeah. So this is the most asked question. Because if you're coming from a completely new background, completely different background, and you're new to business analysis, you don't have project experience. Okay. So first thing is that don't fake your resume. Don't think that I have 5 years of experience, so I'll show 5 projects and you will get through it. You'll never get through it. The interviewer will catch you in 5 minutes. Okay. So don't do that. But there are some practical ways which we have been suggesting to most of the people, is that first, try and do a training program where you can have exposure to a real life project, which you do yourself, whether alone or in a group. You create the artifacts yourself. So you write the SRS document, you write the user stories, you create the process diagram, and somebody looks at it and say, okay, you have done it correct. Okay, so that is the first thing which you can do. Second thing which you can do is, let's say you are working in a bank. Again, same example. And you're working on the bank software, right? For dealing with foreign exchange, dealing with fixed deposits, something like that, or mutual funds. Try and visualize yourself as working as a business analyst for that project. So that becomes your project. Create the artifacts, documents for that project. Then share it with some seniors or the trainer who has been teaching you, so that you can get an input and feedback on that. Saying, okay, you have done it correctly. So these are two practical way of creating your portfolio, okay, which you can show to the client that, okay, to the employer rather, and say that, okay, I have done this. So even if they ask you questions, you'll be able to answer those questions. If nothing works, then the only option left to build a project portfolio is to do an internship. Okay, join an organization where even if it's 3 months, but it will give you a lot of confidence, and also it will build you at least one project. Okay, so these are few steps which you can take to build your project portfolio.
Right. Good. Of course, I mean, technical knowledge is more important for this role, right? So basically, like this, these employers will look at your practical knowledge more, right? I mean, the practical understanding about this role. Correct. Right. Of course, I mean, the course which Techcanvass offers, so in that also we have a complete practical project wherein that would be an end-to-end project wherein you get to create the entire project independently. So can you share some strategies for standing out during the job interviews?
Yeah. So if I think that, okay, we take a lot of interviews even in Techcanvass. So when we look at a candidate, okay, the first thing which we observe is that how confident and clear this person is about whatever they're saying. Okay. The second thing would be how knowledgeable they are of this subject matter. Okay. These are two very, very important things. Okay. So when you're preparing for an interview, do work on how to answer questions. Even if it's a basic question, tell me about yourself. Practice it. So practice makes you confident.
Right.
Okay. And then it comes out. Okay. So it's very important that you practice. That is the first step. Mm-hmm. Second step would be thorough with your resume. Okay. There are always a lot of questions on the resume. Okay. So you need to know. So if you mentioned a project, right, you should be in a position to explain that, okay, I have done it. So if you've done it, you should be able to explain it. Right. So that is the second thing. Third thing, I would say knowledge. Subject matter knowledge is very important. Right. So you need to know what business analysis skills are, techniques, tools, all of that. That is very, very important. And these are the things which I would say very, very important to kind of display or have in your interview.
Right. Of course. I mean, that's true. Like whatever is there in your resume, so you should be aware with everything. I mean, an interviewer can ask you anything from your resume.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Correct. So what's the typical career progression for a business analyst is?
There could be multiple career paths. Okay. So the most relevant one and very prominent one in today's world is from a business analyst, you can become a chief product officer. Okay. So that's a path which is pretty much viable. So you start as a business analyst, you gain some experience, then you become a product owner. Okay. So product owner to product manager path is pretty much feasible. Okay. So start as an maybe assistant product manager, product owner, then you become a product owner, then you get into product management. So from BA to PO to PM, from BA to PO first, you need to learn about product ownership. You need to learn about Scrum. You need to learn about what does a product owner do. You also need to have some domain knowledge. Okay, so some experience is required before you can become a product owner. From there, you see what kind of knowledge you have attained as a product owner, and then learn about product management. Okay, so there are several courses and certifications which are available, which you can go through and gain the knowledge about a product manager. And then from product management, you can get into more higher profiles in the organization. So that's one path. Second part is more traditional, from business analysis to management. Okay, so you become a senior management, and then if you have the team handling skills, this is true for people who they can manage team. Okay, so they can get into project management. So you can do PMP like certification and get into project management. So from project management, you can get into delivery management, head of delivery. So that leads to CXO profiles. The third one is for people who like to work as an individuals, but they are pretty detailed oriented persons. So for them, I would advise to get into a domain subject matter expert profile, or a product SME profile. Okay, it takes time to gain expertise in a product or to gain expertise in a domain. It requires a lot of time. Okay, so you need to work on multiple projects for many years before you become an expert. But you can choose one path. Let's say you become an expert in healthcare domain. Okay, that will take many years, but once you become that, I'll tell you that that's very fulfilling job, very, very satisfying and very well paid job. Similarly, you can become an expert in a product, for example, SAP, or you can become a Salesforce SME. Okay, these are also pretty exciting roles. And for people who want to work as an individual, they're absolutely brilliant career paths. So these are 3 career paths which you can think of.
So that means like, business analysts, they have a great career prospects, right?
Correct.
Great. Now, very important question now. How AI is changing the world of business analysis now?
Yeah. So AI is changing every industry, every profession. There's absolutely no doubts about it. Okay. As far as business analysis is concerned, so business analysis is primarily in the early stages of business analysis is an individual role, more individual contribution. So you create documents, you create diagrams like models, and do a lot of things on your own. What you can do and what AI can do for you is that you can leverage AI to get help in doing these tasks. Okay, so what will happen is you will get partially your work done through AI with your own oversight, but that will free up a lot of time for you. Now you can do more valuable work and move into a more strategic profile. So that is one definite advantage of how AI can impact business analysis. Also, you can move up the value chain where you can become an AI business analyst. Okay, where what you can do, you can also help the client in figuring out how AI can help them solve a problem. Okay, so with your AI knowledge, you can do that as well. Okay, so that is something also which definitely is in the pipeline. In fact, a lot of people, a lot of organizations are looking for AI business analysts. Okay, so that's also a positive impact on business analysts. But having said that, you also need to consider that AI is not going to replace you.
Okay.
Okay. So if you are scared, saying that, okay, maybe AI can take my job. So maybe I can change my path or I can do something else. Don't be scared. AI cannot take your job as of now because a lot of BA work is related to soft skills, right? AI cannot replace that, right? So AI can write documents, AI can create diagrams, but AI cannot negotiate with the client. AI cannot kind of facilitate meetings, right? So you still need business analysts. Okay. So there are certain negatives that it can do certain tasks of yours, but there are a lot of positives which I talked about.
Correct. So one positive thing is that you can use AI as your assistant, right?
Correct.
Great. All right. So where can our viewer connect you for your guidance and advice?
I'm on LinkedIn. You can always connect with me on LinkedIn. So many people actually connect with me and they send questions related to their career and all. So if you go and search for Techcanvass, you will obviously find me also. So that is one way of connecting. Other than that, you can write to us at our email ID, official email ID. That also reaches me.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experiences and insights. I'm really sure that this episode will help many aspirants in answering their questions. And they're wondering like how can they become a business analyst? What steps do they need to take? So this episode will answer all the questions. And to our viewers, I hope this episode is just not giving the answers to your questions, but the confidence to build your career as a business analyst. So that's it for today's episode of Future Forward. Until next time, keep learning, stay curious, and stay focused. Thank you.